In this talk, I would like to discuss the various treatment methods in wastewater treatment. So, if you analyze the characteristics of wastewater, it contains lot of organic matter as well as some inorganic impurities. So, how do you tackle these organic matters? If you analyze the characteristics of domestic wastewater, it contains lot of carbonaceous matter, nitrogenous matter, phosphorus thing, grit particle as well as numerous quantity of pathogenic organism as well as coliform organism. So, how to tackle those contaminants? So, in order to tackle those contaminants dispersed in aqueous phase, we have to adapt unit operations as well as unit processes. What do you mean by unit operation? In unit operation, we are trying to segregate contaminants with the aid of physical activity, but in the case of unit processor, we are trying to remove those contaminants with the aid of chemical and biological processes. So, wastewater treatment is a combination of unit operations as well as unit processes. In order to achieve this activity, we need reactors. Reactor is a container. With the help of this container, we can achieve lot of unit operations as well as unit processes. So, if you analyze the characteristics of wastewater, it contains a billion number of bacteria. Some of them are pathogenic in nature, solid particles. These solid particles are in three different states: suspended particles, colloidal particles and dissolved particles. Carbonaceous matter and nutrients like nitrogen as well as phosphorus are dispersed in water. In addition to that, wastewater contains some quantity of oil and grease. So, if you analyze the overall composition of domestic wastewater, it contains 99.9% to 99.7% water, remaining 0.1 to 0.3% solid particles. So, these solids are in three different states: dissolved to suspended state and coliform organisms as well as pathogenic organism. If you investigate the characteristics of solid particles, 70% of the solid particles are organic in nature and the remaining 30% of the solids are inorganic in nature. So, major inorganic particles are grit particles, sand and other things, salt and trace concentration of metallic particles. So, if you investigate the characteristics of organic matter, 25% of the organic contents are carbohydrate, 65% proteins and 10% fats. So, in order to remove these contaminants from aqueous phase, we have to adapt unit operation as well as unit processes. As per domestic wastewater treatment is concerned, we have to adapt set of unit operation as well as unit processes in sequential manner. They are categorized as physical operation, chemical processes and biological processes. The predominant physical activity involved in wastewater treatment are screening activity followed by mixing, flocculation, sedimentation, flotation as well as filtration. The chemical processes involved in water treatment, wastewater treatment facilities are gas transfer, adsorption as well as disinfection activity. So, biological unit processes can be achieved with the aid of aerobic bacteria as well as anaerobic bacteria. So, this is a schematic flow diagram of a conventional water treatment process. Here, the raw water is to be treated, is fed into the screening bar. There, we are trying to remove the floating matters, rags, paper and other bigger macroparticulate matter dispersed in water. Subsequently, by incorporating a screening chamber, we are trying to remove sand particle and other bigger inorganic matter present in water. Subsequently, we have a primary clarifier. With the help of this primary clarifier, we are trying to capture 80 to 85% of settlable suspended matter and 30% of total BOD present in raw wastewater. The primary treated effluent is fed into aerobic process. There we have aeration facility followed by a secondary settler. In aeration tank, air is forged into the reactor in order to keep aerobic organism alive. Subsequently, the mixed liquor will be collected in secondary clarifier. Part of the active microbial population is sent back to the reactor to maintain bacterial population at constant rate. Subsequently, we are trying to collect primary solids as well as secondary solids with the aid of sludge withdrawal facility and it can be thickened. Further, it can be digested with the aid of anaerobic facility. Anaerobically digested sludge can be further be dewatered and it can be safe for disposal. The secondary clarified effluent can be further be treated by adapting disinfection facility and it can be let out into water environment after attaining stringent state PCB standard. So, this is another scheme we have. Here raw water is fed into bar stream, there we are trying to remove rags and other bigger particle. Subsequently, we have grit chamber to remove grit particle present in feed stream. Subsequently, we are feeding the effluent into primary clarifier, it is operated in an upward manner and the flow pattern is radial outflow. The clarified effluent is fed into aerobic reactor. Subsequently, we have one more solid liquid separator at the downstream side of aeration tank. The sludge that will be collected in secondary clarifier is sent back to aeration facility in order to maintain MLSS population at a constant rate. In addition to that, we have sludge removal facility. This is the aerial photograph of a raw sewage treatment plant with all units are integrated here. So, now we will discuss the various aspects of primary treatment operation. So, primary treatment operation consists of screen chamber followed by grid channel. In addition to that, one solid liquid separator is connected at the downstream side of grid chamber. With the aid of screen bar, we can try to remove floating matter present in raw wastewater stream. So, here the chamber can be designed by adopting a minimum head loss of 15 centimeter. Once the 50% of the openings are covered by floating matter, we can allow the reactor to tackle up to 30 centimeter head loss. Then subsequently, the water is fed into grid chamber, there the flow velocity is maintained at 0.3 meter per second. Suppose the flow velocity is greater than 0.3 meter per second, some of the grit particle present in effluent stream may escape into sedimentation tank. So, that should be arrested. At the same time, if you operate your grit chamber at low flow velocity, some of the suspended solids present in raw water stream will deposit at the bed of the reactor. While designing configuration of grid chamber, we have to avoid these two extremes. One is short circuiting, another activity is the deposition of suspended particle. So, if you allow your reactor to operate at high flow velocity, some of the grit particle present in effluent stream may escape from the reactor, that activity is called as short circuiting. So, if you allow the reactor to operate at low flow velocity, in addition to heavy grit particle, some of the suspended solids present in effluent stream may deposit at the bed of the reactor, that should be avoided. So, for that purpose, we have to operate the system at a flow rate velocity of 0.3 to 0.4 meter per second. While designing the geometry of the reactor, the detention time is 30 to 60 seconds only, and the liquid can be retained within the system for 30 to 60 seconds. So, retention time is nothing but time taken by a liquid particle traveling from inlet to outlet of the reactor, that is entirely different from retention of solid. So, at the downstream side of grid chamber, we have one more reactor, this is a primary clarifier. The purpose of primary clarification or primary sedimentation is to remove most of the suspended particles scattered in aqueous phase. With the aid of settling tank, we are trying to capture up to 80% of settlable suspended solid. So, if we consider the total solids present in the effluent stream, we are trying to capture 50 to 60% of the solid particle present in effluent stream. While designing configuration of the sedimentation tank, we have to consider three major aspects. One is hydraulic retention time, second parameter surface loading rate of the reactor, the third parameter wear loading. So, first parameter hydraulic retention time. While designing the configuration of the reactor, that is volume of the reactor, we can consider hydraulic retention time of the fluid may be in the range of 4 to 4 hours. Normally, we are adapting 2.5 hours detention time, that will be found to be optimum for most of the primary clarification unit. The surface loading rate for this system may be in the range of 15 to 20 meter cube per meter square per day. The overflow rate or the wear loading of the system will be up to 300 meter cube per meter per day. So, these are the three criteria we have to account while designing the configuration of the reactor. With the help of the primary sedimentation tank, we are trying to capture 50 to 60% of the total suspended solid present in the water. At the same time, we are trying to capture 80% of the settlable solid. So, by this facility, we are trying to remove 30 to 35% of effluent BOD present in raw wastewater. Suppose the raw water BOD is 400 milligram per liter. With the help of primary treatment facility, we can definitely remove 120 milligram per liter of BOD present in raw wastewater. As per TNPCB norms, at the end of secondary treatment option, the influent the BOD of the treated stream should not be greater than 20 milligram per liter. The residual BOD remaining in wastewater, that is roughly 280 milligram after primary treatment. So, that at the end of secondary treatment option, the BOD content of wastewater should not be greater than 20 milligram per liter. By considering the stringent PPCB norms, we have to remove 260 milligram per liter of BOD with the help of secondary treatment facility. So, this is a BOS screen that is normally provided before feeding wastewater into other units of the wastewater treatment facility. This is a BOS screen. So, based on the width of the opening, we can categorize BOS screen into coarse, medium and fine screen. This is a coarse screen. Normally, in wastewater treatment facility, two different types of screening facilities are provided. One is coarse followed by fine screen. By this way, we can remove rags, paper and a bigger floating matter present in effluent wastewater. This is fine screen that is provided downstream side of coarse streams. So, normally in wastewater, most of the wastewater treatment facility consists of two different screening facility. One is coarse screen followed by fine screen. These two units are connected in sequential manner. This is a screened matter. After screening activity, the residue can be used for landfill. So, mostly the residue is organic in nature. While designing configuration of screening facility, the permitted head loss at the time of commissioning of the reactor is 15 centimeter. Once 50% of the openings are covered by floating matter, we can permit the reactor to allow 30 centimeter head loss. This is a grid chamber. The grid chamber is normally connected at the downstream side of screening facility. So, with the help of grid chamber, we are trying to remove grid particle present in effluent wastewater. Normally, with the help of this facility, we are trying to collect sand particle, eggshell and other inorganics present in effluent water. These inorganics are heavy when compared to water. The specific gravity of inorganic material may be in the range of 2 to 2.65. The specific gravity of water is 1. So, with the help of the differential settling principle, we are trying to collect this discrete particle with the aid of type 1 type settling. So, type 1 settling is a discrete settling. Here the particle will not agglomerate at the time of settling activity. So, what are the ideal conditions of discrete settling? So, here we are trying to minimize the turbulence force by allowing the water to pass at low flow velocity. By this way, we are trying to capture those discrete particles at low flow velocity. While designing the configuration of grid channel, the permitted flow velocity may be in the range of 0.3 to 0.4 meter per second. If you operate your reactor at low flow velocity, we can relieve the turbulent force. At the same time, the discrete particles scattered in aqueous phase will try to settle under the influence of gravity pull. So, those settled particles can be scrapped out from the reactor and the clarified effluent can be further loaded into primary settlers. This photograph shows the aerial view of a primary settling tank. The effluent from the grid chamber is fed into the reactor at the center. The flow pattern is radial outflow pattern. The clarified effluent will be collected from the periphery of the reactor by providing weir facility at the outlet of the reactor. So, this is a rectangular type of primary settling tank. Here weir arrangements are provided here to collect the clarified effluent. This is a circular type of primary clarifier. This is another view here. So, in order to arrest the scum as well as other floating matter, we have to provide baffle just prior to weir facility. So, this is a baffle wall arrangements provided around the periphery of the reactor to collect floating matters like scum, oil and other thing. The clarified effluent will be collected from the reactor by providing weir facility at the periphery of the reactor. So, in order to design the configuration of this reactor, we have to provide a minimum weir length of 300 meter cube per meter per day. This is a permitted weir loading as per CPHO recommendation. The clarified effluent will be collected with the help of a channel and can be diverted into aerobic reactor. This is another reactor without water. So, reactor consists of a circular well. The water is to be treated is loaded at the center. In order to minimize the turbulence while loading water into reactor, we have to provide a circular baffle around the reactor. At the bottom, we have scraper mechanism. The purpose of the scraper mechanism is to collect the sludge that will be deposited at the bed of the reactor and it can be pulled towards the center with the help of this mechanism. It can be rotated with the aid of motor cum reduction gear facility that is provided at the center of the reactor. So, this is a weir arrangements that is normally provided around the periphery of the reactor to collect the clarified effluent. So, in order to collect the sludge that will be deposited at the bed of the reactor, we have to provide a minimum bed slope of 8 to 12%. So, this is another view of primary settling tank. So, after once the primary treatment is over, the primary clarified effluent is subjected to biological treatment. Here in wastewater treatment operation, we are trying to remove residual organic matter remaining in primary clarified effluent with the aid of bacteria. So, if you consider raw water BOD is 400 milligram per liter, normally in most of the metro cities, the BOD content of domestic wastewater will be in the range of 250 to 350 milligram per liter. For our calculation purpose, if the maximum BOD is 400 milligram per liter, so during primary treatment operation, we can capture 30% of BOD. That 30% of BOD is eliminated during primary treatment operation. As per TNBCB norms, the treated effluent BOD should not be greater than 20. So, we have to remove 260 milligram per liter of BOD with the aid of biological activity. So, based on this simple calculation, we are trying to calculate, we can easily calculate how much BOD load entering into secondary treatment facility. So, the major objectives of biological treatments are to stabilize organic matter present in primary clarified effluent. One more objective, to stabilize nitrogen as well as phosphorus present in effluent stream. The biological treatment can be achieved with the aid of aerobic bacteria as well as anaerobic bacteria. In aerobic activity, molecular oxygen will serve as an electron acceptor, but in anaerobic activity, the organic matter or intermediates that will be generated during anaerobic pathway will serve as electron acceptor. Apart from aerobic as well as anaerobic activity, we have one more type of bacteria, that is facultative bacteria. So, these bacteria can survive in the presence or absence of molecular oxygen. If you want to eliminate nitrogen from wastewater, we need anoxic type of reactor. So, overall we can categorize biological system into aerobic system, anaerobic, facultative as well as anoxic system. These activities can be achieved with the help of reactor. As I already pointed out, in order to achieve unit operations as well as unit processes, we need reactors. So, reactors are containers with some mechanical equipments. With the help of this container, we can achieve lot of unit operation as well as unit processes. In order to implement this biological activity, we need reactors. These reactors can be categorized as attached growth system, suspended growth system, or combination of these systems. These systems can be incorporated in reactor. In attached growth culture, the beneficial organisms are immobilized on the surface of the solid medium. In suspended growth process, the beneficial organism required for biodegradation of organic matter will be suspended in aqueous phase. In combined system, both the suspended growth culture as well as attached growth culture are present in a biological reactor. So, another system we have pond system. This is a natural based treatment system. We do not have control at all. Most of the parameters are out of control. The major pond systems are aerobic pond, maturation pond, facultative pond as well as anaerobic pond. So, these are some of the mechanized reactor used for biological treatment of wastewater. The suspended growth activity can be achieved with the aid of activated sludge process or aerated lagoon we have. With the help of these two reactors, we can tackle carbonaceous matter. At the same time, some partial nitrification can be achieved with the help of these two kind of reactors. So, second activity is attached growth culture. Here the beneficial organisms are immobilized on the surface of the solid material. The major reactors are trickling filter, roughing filter. So, roughing filters are normally connected or used in industrial facility to minimize the shock load entering into subsequent bioreactor. So, another reactor we have rotating biological conductor. Here the microbial community are immobilized on the surface of the solid disc that can be rotated with the aid of an electric motor. Here the media is in dynamic state, but in trickling filter the media is stationary one. So, another kind of reactors we have packed bed reactor that can be operated in an upflow manner or downflow process. With the help of this attached growth culture, we can tackle carbonaceous matter as well as nitrification based on the operational parameter. So, one more category, by integrating these two facility, we can achieve better efficiency. Some of the reactors are activated biofilter, trickling filter solid conduct process, biofilter activated sludge process and so on. So, with the help of this integrated facility, we can tackle carbonaceous material as well as nitrification activity. So, this is a mechanism of aerobic activity. In aerobic activity, the organic matter present in waste stream will be converted into simple, stable, inorganic plant nutrients during bacterial transformation. At the same time, the energy released during bacterial activity that will be used for reproduce more cell. This is a stoichiometry of bacterial cell C5H7NO2. So, bacterial cell can be represented by this way. So, during aerobic respiration lot of energy will be released. So, bacterial respiration is considered as a exothermic reaction. So, part of the energy may be captured during assimilation process and the rest of energy will be wasted in the form of heat energy. In order to maintain aerobic bacteria, the bacteria require dissolved oxygen. In order to maintain aerobic activity in a suspended growth culture, we have to provide minimum dissolved oxygen content of 2 milligram per liter. The reaction is very rapid in nature. So, we have to provide all essential nutrients to support bacterial life. So, if we consider aerobic activity, aerobic bacteria require carbon, nitrogen as well as phosphorus in the ratio of 100:5:1. So, another thing is other environmental conditions should be favorable for bacteria, so pH, temperature, all other things should be favorable for bacteria. In aerobic activity to be maintained in a mechanized way, we have to provide all favorable conditions at optimum level. By this way, we can definitely promote the growth of aerobic bacteria in a mechanized system. So, this is a simple mass balance diagram how the transformation occurred during biochemical transformation. So, if we rate the influent organic matter in terms of chemical oxygen demand, so roughly 50% of the COD will be converted into biological sludge during aerobic transformation and 50% of the energy will be wasted in the form of heat energy. So, bacteria can take some of the energy that will be released during exothermic reaction. With the help of the energy, they can produce more and more bacterial cell by binary fission. This is the growth equation. Another one is the endogenous phase of respiration. The organic content present in effluent stream can be represented by CHONS. This is organic matter. So, organic content consists of carbon, hydrogen and other functional groups like sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus. These are the functional groups present in organic matter. With the help of oxygen as a terminal electron acceptor and in the presence of adequate macro as well as micronutrients, bacteria assimilate organic matter dispersed in water and it will be converted into carbon dioxide. So, proteins are converted into ammoniacal nitrogen at the end of bacterial respiration. So, with the help of energy released during assimilation process that can be utilized to produce more and more bacterial cell and other end products. If the food source is limited, in that situation, some of the bacterial species enter into endogenous phase of respiration. So, during endogenous phase, some of the bacterial cell enter into death phase, lysis will occur, the protoplasm of the cell will come out from the cell wall. It will serve as a substrate for other vibrant bacteria that are dispersed in aqueous phase. So, during endogenous phase of respiration, the bacterial cell acts as a substrate for other dynamic bacteria present in our reactor. So, during endogenous phase of respiration, some of the bacterial cells are converted or utilized as a food for other dynamic bacteria present in the reactor. So, this is a simple schematic diagram to represent activated sludge process, that is a mechanized process normally adapted in most of the sewage treatment plants in Chennai city. So, here the reactor consists of an aeration tank followed by a secondary settler. So, with the help of aeration facility, here diffuser aeration is provided to keep DO level at a minimum level of 2 milligram per liter. The entire microbial culture will be in suspended state, that's why the reactor is called as suspended growth culture, and the entire content will be collected in a secondary clarifier. With the help of gravity pull, we can segregate biological contaminants or biological solids that will be generated during aerobic transformation. Part of the biological solids, roughly 30 to 40% of the biological solids are sent back to aeration tank to keep microbial population in aeration tank at a rate of 2000 to 3000 milligram per liter. Most of the activated sludge process, the microbial mass present within the system can be rated with the help of mixed liquor suspended solid or mixed liquid volatile suspended solid. So, these are the two parameters normally used to evaluate the presence of microbial colonies present in dispersed form. Other operating parameters we have to consider while designing the configuration of reactors: solids retention time, hydraulic retention time. Then one more operational parameter, sludge volume index, that is normally used to evaluate the settling behavior of mixed liquor suspended solid. While designing configuration of activated sludge process, we have to keep hydraulic retention time in the range of 5 to 8 hours, the organic loading rate up to 0.8 kg BOD per meter cube per day. the solids retention time may be in the range of 8 to 12 days. So, if you want to achieve nitrification in addition to carbon oxidation, we have to enhance solids retention time up to a maximum level of 15 days. So, by this way, carbon oxidizing heterotrophic bacteria as well as nitrifying organism may tolerate or may present within the same reactor. So, if we investigate the growth pattern of carbon oxidizing heterotrophic bacteria with respect to nitrifying organisms, so nitrifying organisms are slow growing bacteria, they cannot compete with fast growing heterotrophic bacteria, because these two kinds of bacteria require molecular oxygen as a terminal electron acceptor, but the substrate assimilation is entirely different. So, carbon oxidizing bacteria require organic carbon for their cell growth, but the heterotrophic nitrifying species require inorganic carbon for cell growth. So, the oxygen will act as a limiting factor for nitrifying organism, because the growth rate of carbon oxidizing heterotrophic bacteria are 4 times greater than that of slow growing nitrifying bacteria. In that situation, so if you want to promote the growth of two different types of bacteria in a same reactor, we have to operate the reactor at high solids retention time. At the same time, we had to reduce BOD load up to 0.6 kg BOD per meter cube per day, while loading the reactor at low BOD level. At the same time, if you provide more solids retention time, so we can promote the growth of carbon oxidizing heterotrophic bacteria as well as nitrifying autotrophic bacteria. Other aspect while designing the configuration of the reactor is sludge volume index. That is a crucial parameter to evaluate the settling behavior of mixed, liquid, suspended solid. So, most of the case the sludge volume index value should be within 120. By this way only we can easily segregate mixed liquor from aqueous phase, otherwise we need coagulant to remove solid particle that will be generated during aerobic transformation. Here in activated sludge scheme, the secondary settler will act as a solid liquid separator. With the aid of gravity pull, we are trying to remove biological mass that will be generated during aerobic transformation. So, 30 to 40% of the active microbial population is sent back to the reactor again. So, to maintain MLSS population in the range of 2000 to 3000 milligram per liter, solids retention time for conventional carbon oxidation process may be in the range of 8 to 10 days. If you want to achieve nitrification, we have to enhance solids retention time up to a maximum level of 15 days. So, by this way these two different bacteria, one is carbon oxidizing bacteria as well as slow growing nitrifying bacteria may be there in our biological system. So, this is the aerial photograph of aeration tank with the diffuser aeration. This is mechanical aeration. In mechanical agitation, we are spreading water in a larger area. By this way, the molecular oxygen, the oxygen present in atmospheric air will try to diffuse into liquid layer. So, oxygenation can be achieved by directly sparging air with the help of diffuser plates that is normally fixed at the bottom of the reactor. With the help of air compressor, we can sparge air. The air requirement for biological oxidation can be quantified based on the influent BOD load entering into the reactor. For conventional system, if you want to achieve carbon oxidation alone, we can permit up to 0.8 kg BOD per meter cube per day. So, based on the capacity of plant, we can calculate how much BOD load entering into our reactor. So, based on that calculation, we have to provide adequate quantity of air based on the oxygen content of air, so 21% as per volumetric proportion. Based on this simple calculation, we have to quantify how much oxygen is required to promote aerobic activity. In aerobic system, molecular oxygen will serve as an electron acceptor. That is why we have to provide a minimum DO level of 2 milligram per liter to keep the entire reactor at aerobic condition. Otherwise, in addition to aerobic activity, some facultative organism may flourish, suppose the DO level is less than 1.5 milligram per liter. So, apart from that, we have to maintain adequate turbulence within the reactor to avoid settling of mixed liquor that will be generated during aerobic activity. Another important aspect while designing activated sludge scheme is aeration facility. So, aeration can be achieved with the aid of diffuser mechanism, or it can be attained with the aid of mechanical agitation. In mechanical agitation, we are spreading water into larger area with the help of mechanical agitator. So, by spreading water into larger area, we are creating tiny liquid droplets. The mass transfer rate is related to surface area of droplet size. As the droplet size decreases, surface area increases, ultimately that will influences mass transfer rate. So, atmospheric oxygen present in air will try to diffuse into liquid layer through the interface. The driving force responsible for migration of oxygen from atmospheric air to liquid phase is related to DO deficit in bulk fluid. So, if you consider the oxygen saturation of bulk fluid that is admitted into activated sludge process at 20 degrees centigrade, the maximum DO solubility is 9.17 milligram per liter. But if you analyze the DO content of feed stream that will be allowed in aeration facilities roughly 0 or sometimes 0.5 milligram per liter. So, deficit is huge, that is why more quantity of oxygen will try to diffuse into liquid layer. So, there is a relative driving force responsible for migration of oxygen from atmospheric air to bulk liquid. Once the oxygen reaches into interface level, further migration is due to concentration gradient. In bulk fluid, the concentration of DO is almost nil, that is why enormous gradient is there in bulk fluid. Suddenly, whatever oxygen transported at interface that will immediately disperse throughout the bulk fluid. That is why we are creating more turbulence in bulk fluid. Any activated sludge system, the mass transfer rate is related to surface area. Another aspect is turbulence. Here we are creating enough turbulence to avoid concentration gradient in bulk fluid. So, by this way we can definitely promote more transfer of oxygen from atmospheric air to bulk liquid. That is why we are spreading water into larger area with the aid of mechanical agitator. Here we are converting liquids into tiny liquid droplets with the help of a mechanical agitator. Here we are vigorously agitate the bulk fluid with the help of a mechanical paddles arrangements. The oxygen transport rate capacity is available. Based on the oxygen transport capacity of mechanical agitator, we can design how many aerators are required to meet the design requirements. Here surface aerators are provided at various locations in order to transport oxygen. Another aspect is the degree of turbulence is a very important factor while designing the mass transfer phenomena. Here in aeration reactor or in aeration tank, we are not permitting the solid particle that will be generated during biochemical activity to settle within the reactor. Whatever biomass generated during biochemical transformation, that will be in suspension only. So, another aspect, we have to transport more quantity of oxygen with the help of the mechanical agitator. We are spreading water into larger surface area. So, this is a diffuser mechanism. This is a mixer liquor. Here we are providing diffuser plates at the bottom of the reactor to create enough turbulence. At the same time, the oxygen present in influence stream will disperse throughout the bulk phase. So, these are the diffuser plates that is normally provided at the bed of the reactor. So, we have to clean the diffuser plates quite often, otherwise the thin biological film will be formed around the surface of the porous media. So, this is the diffuser plates at the time of cleaning operation. This is the aeration mechanism. This is another arrangements we have. So, nowadays with the aid of this membrane type of reactor, membrane type of diffuser plates, we can definitely enhance the oxygen transport rate when compared to diffuser plates. This is another reactor with surface aerator. So, these are the mechanical paddles normally provided to maintain metal mass transfer rate. This is another view we have. So, these are the various types of aerators, mechanical agitator. Based on its location, we can categorize reactors into fixed type of aerator, floating types, that is normally provided in aerated lagoon. So, turbine type of aerators we have. This is the aerial view of aeration tank. So, this is the biological flock that will be generated during biochemical transformation. So, during biological transformation, the influence substrate, whatever substrate loaded into biological system, that will be converted into biological mass. I have already pointed out. So, if you investigate the mass balance analysis of aerobic system, roughly 50% of the COD is transformed into biological mass, 50% of the energy will be wasted in the form of heat energy. So, whatever energy liberated during biochemical activity, that will be part of the energy will be captured by bacteria, and it can be utilized for reproduction purpose. Bacteria cell can reproduce within 20 minutes. The germination time is only 20 minutes only. So, within 20 minutes one cell will be divided into two, like that it will multiply rapidly. So, whatever biological cell that will be generated or that will be produced during biochemical transformation, that will be dispersed there. With the help of the extracellular polymeric substance, these cell attach agglomerate each other. Ultimately, a biological flock will be formed within the reactor. It will be in suspended state. So, this is the appearance of biological flock. This is the older flocks, that is dark in color. So, fresh one is brown in color. This is the appearance of biological flock that will be generated during biochemical transformation. So far we have discussed various unit operations as well as processes in wastewater treatment. First, we have discussed various unit operation involved in wastewater treatment. Major treatments are screening activity, grit channel, that is normally used to remove grit particle present in influence string. Subsequently, we have primary settler. The purpose of primary settling is to remove most of the suspended particle that will be present in influence string. Up to primary treatment facility, we can remove 30% of BOD present in raw wastewater. Subsequently, we have biological treatment processes. So, here in this facility, we have discussed more about activated sled process. So, activated sled process is considered as a versatile one, is a mechanized system. With the help of that system, we can definitely achieve 95% efficiency. So far, we have discussed various unit operations as well as processes in domestic wastewater treatment. Thank you.